Hello, welcome to this Neuro Pilates class. Today's class is focusing on the parietal lobe, which is located at the top of the head here. It is just behind the frontal lobes and it's responsible for our ability to feel sensation. It's also where we learn language. It's about our proprioception, our ability to know where our body is in space, and it's also to help us to distinguish between our right and left and finger recognition. Today we're going to be focusing a lot on balancing movements. There'll be some twisting and turning and some stimulation to the parts of our body that have the greatest amount of sensation. So that's our face, our mouth, our hands, and our feet in particular. Here's a picture just of the brain, and the blue part is the parietal lobe, just so you can see. Things that you'll need today to have with you is a pen and bare feet. You might need some sort of blanket on the floor for your back. We're going to be doing a bit of rolling, so get everything you need and then we'll get started. So the exercise for the eyes that we're going to do this time is called eye tracking. And as you know, before we learned how to do saccades, which is moving the eyes fairly quickly up and down, side to side, diagonally. So eye tracking is when you focus on an object, keep your head still, and allow your eyes to move and track that object in space. Okay. So when we do this eye movement, we are stimulating our parietal lobe. So if you have any problems with your body and being able to balance, feel a little bit unsteady on your feet, then this is a good exercise for you to practice. And then we're going to move the pen up and down and keep following the tip of the pen as you track your eyes. And you can go slower than me. If you wish, remember throughout the class to do what feels okay. Now let's start to circle. So keep staring at the tip of the pen as you move into larger and larger circles. Just allow your eyes to follow. When you've gone large enough, start to go back the other way and just keep the eyes really focused on that tip of your pen. Good, and we're back. Okay, so now we're going to start to do some exercises to bring more sensation to the body. So we're going to start with our head. We're going to start to pull the hair a little bit. So just taking your fingers in and grabbing little chunks. Some people don't enjoy doing this. I do this every morning when I wake up, to wake up my head. The sensation of pulling is really good for waking up in the morning. Good. And then I'm going to start to do little taps on my chest. And this is good to get the lungs, bring flow of blood into this area of the body. Wherever your hands go, your brain goes, and your brain is very curious when you do new and novel things, and that allows for new neural pathways to be formed. Good, leave that alone. So now we're going to take a hold of our elbow with our hand and bring it across and just start to do some little taps on your neck and shoulders and back. And just do as much as feels comfortable, and then start to go down the length of your arm and back up the inside and down. Good. So just the more we touch the body, the more sensation we feel. So leave that now and just stand, maybe close your eyes and just notice how that arm feels compared to the other one. And you might notice that it's much more awake feeling. Yeah, so it's a very simple exercise to do. And then we're going to take a hold of the other elbow and start to pat on the back and sides. Good. So blood flow coming wherever you start to touch, and then let your hand go down your arm and up the inside, all the way to the palm of your hand. And then just stand and feel the sensation now in both of your arms. Okay, I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see a bit more of me. So now we're going to take our hands and we're going to rub our belly and just go in one direction, one hand on top of the other. And then go the other way. And then just leave your hands by your side and notice the difference between the two hands and the belly. And then as you open your eyes, just begin to make these little smacks on your middle back. This is where your kidneys are, and your adrenal glands sit on top of them. They're part of your endocrine system, and they send out cortisol and adrenaline when we have to get up and do something, when we're a little stressed or anxious, they fire that off. So just giving them a little bit of more blood flow and a bit of attention. And then start to hit the buttocks and just feel around as you move from the middle to the outside of the buttocks. Good, and then just stand again and notice the feedback that you're getting with your eyes closed about that part of your body. And see how each part starts to wake up as you touch it. So now we're going to go to the legs. So we're going to go down the sides and up the front and back. So long sweeping strokes. And if it doesn't feel good to go all the way down, then just go halfway to the knees and back up. That's fine too. One more set. And then just stand, let the eyes close, and just feel how you are. And then it's almost like your other leg is saying, touch me, touch me. That's how it feels for me anyway. Good. And you can feel how the leg gets a bit warmer when you touch it. Good. And then just stand with your hands by your side. Close your eyes and feel into your body. Okay, so let's just take a moment to connect to our breath. So we're going to hold our ribs, either crossing the arms or holding by the side. And then just start to feel your breath. And often where you put your hands, the breath will go. So just notice if you can feel the breath in your ribs as you inhale and exhale. And I'd like you just to really pay attention to if there's a difference between the expansion of one side to the other side. When we close our eyes and we take away our most dominant sense, we can feel a little more deeply. The other senses become more attuned. They kind of step up to fill in the gap. So just notice. I definitely feel more expansion on my left side than my right side. And then let go. Good. Okay, so now we're going to start to move to the feet. So I'd like you to just take a look at your feet and your toes. And I'd like you to try and lift your big toes in the air and put them down. So just play with lifting them up and down. And that may not be easy. Maybe one's easier than the other. So you could alternate if you like. Good. And if it's difficult, you can always push down on the other toes and then isolate the big toes. And now let the big toes rest for a moment and start to lift your other toes off the floor. You can do one foot and then the other foot. It takes a little while sometimes for the brain to connect in because the big toe muscle is very strong. It's very dominant. And so trying to get the other ones to lift without the big toe can be a challenge. But again, it's just about sensing and feeling, bringing some more neural connection and pathway to the furthest part of your body from your brain. And then you could alternate lifting the big toes one time and then lifting the other toes. So you kind of go between the two. Good. Okay, and now we're going to lift our heels and start to walk around the mat. Lifting the heels as high as you can. Really feel those mounds of the base of your feet. And if you can, try to go as tall as you can. And maybe even close your eyes if that feels okay. I have a bit of a halo of light coming in here to my basement. Looks pretty. Good. Okay, and then if you want to walk on your heels, very different feeling. You kind of go from being beautiful and graceful to feeling very kind of awkward and old. At least that's how I feel when I do this. Good. All right, so coming back, now we're going to try and do a little bit of foot therapy with a pen. So place the pen on the floor, and I want you to try and curl your toes around it and try and pick it up. Now, I'm starting with my left foot, which is my challenging one. I have less control over this one, so do the best you can. And it's not happening for me today. I'm going to try and spin the pen around the other way and see if I can do it this way around. Okay, got it just. Once you've got it, then release it by lifting your toes up and go back down again. And then try the other foot and just see if it's any easier. Yes, this one's much easier for me. And then spread the toes and drop it. So that's a really good exercise to practice when you're at home for your toe mobility. And practice the one that is a little more challenging. You'll have one side that's easier than the other. Okay, so now we're just going to do a few squats. So I'd like you to take your feet hip distance apart, bend your knees, arms out, and just start to bring some energy into the legs, into those big muscles in the body. Push the weight into your heels, and then maybe close your eyes and just see how it feels in your feet to not see and be in this place and do this exercise. Maybe your feet feel bigger, more connected to the ground as you do that. And then notice your breath. We'll just do one more. Good, let's add a little bit of balance now. So go down and then lift one leg, squat and lift. Good. So in this way, we're starting to add a bit of balance to the exercise. Good, and again, if you want to, close your eyes and really feel how your feet land and lift. Only if that feels safe. Let's just do two more. Okay, so just stand for a moment, notice your breath, notice the sensation in your body. Allow your breath to recover and come back to an easier place. And then we're going to walk to the end of our mat. We're going to come down. So take a breath in, and we're just going to roll down one vertebrae at a time. Bend your knees as much as you need, and just let your body drape down toward the floor. It may be that you prefer to have your elbows on your knees, if that feels a bit too heavy in the back. So just adjust. Take another moment just to sway from side to side here and just feel into your back. Letting your arms just dangle down, feeling the blood coming into your head. And again, if you have high blood pressure, you might want to stay a little higher up. But really take your time now to slowly take a breath in and then slowly exhale as you bring yourself all the way back up. Let the shoulders roll back, and this time we'll go down to stay down. So take a breath in to prepare. Exhale, roll down. Take your time. And only do what feels okay for you. So coming onto your hands and knees now, feet flat, fingers spread nice and wide. We're going to breathe in, we're going to look forward, and then we're going to twist and look back at our foot behind us. Breathe in here, and then look back. So starting to bring some length to the side waist, and gazing behind us towards our foot. Good. And now I'd like you to extend one leg behind and just rock forward and back on your toes, giving them a stretch, as well as the sole of the foot. The more flexible and the amount of sensation you can feel in your feet, the easier it will be for you to improve your balance. And then take the other leg back, rock, stretching the toes. Good. Now we're going to tuck our toes under and we're going to sit back on them. Now, this may be really painful. If it is, then please come up into this position. If it isn't, then feel free to stay down on your toes. We're going to rub our hands together, create some warmth and heat through that friction. Good. And then we're going to take our index finger and just stretch the fascia of each finger in turn. Good. And then we're going to flatten our feet and we're going to sit down onto them. Again, if that doesn't feel good, come up higher and then rub the hands together again. And then take the other hand, use the index finger to stretch. Good. If you have any arthritis or anything, just go easy and then just give the hands a bit of a shake. Okay, so we're going to come to sit now. We're going to take our legs out in front of us. And we're just going to look at our feet and we're going to point and flex. Sit. Looking at your toes, start to rotate them in one direction and then in the other direction. You can always have your hands behind you for more support. And then I'd like you to try that pen exercise again, but with an imaginary pen. So imagine you're curling your toes around the pen. You extend your feet out, you let go of the pen, and you bring your feet back up. Squeeze the pen, extend the legs, release the pen, and come back up. So these exercises, again, mapping more neural connections from your feet to your brain by doing these specific exercises so that balance and mobility in your feet will improve. One more time. Good. Okay, so now we're going to do what I call a little cowboy walk. We're going to lift one butt cheek and start to walk forward. Get to the end of your mat and then just start to walk yourself back again. Just swing your arms to help you go. We'll get to the end of the mat and then we'll come back again into the middle. Okay, so just mapping a little bit of hip movement and mobility. So now we're going to start to turn. So I'd like you to turn and look behind you and then come back to center and then turn and look behind you. So just bringing a bit of mobility to your spine and turning your head, looking at a point behind you. That's it, good. One more time. Okay, so now let's bend our knees. You can take your hands behind your knees and start to roll down very slowly toward the mat and come to lie down. So from this position, we're going to go back into our pelvic tilt. So I want you to place your fingers on the tips of your pelvic bones. I want you to feel the position of your lower back in relation to the mat. I'd like you to imagine you've got a cherry tomato underneath there. And as you breathe in to prepare, you exhale and you squash that tomato down into your mat. Otherwise, think of a cup of tea sitting on your pelvis here, and you're spilling the tea over your belly button. So try either one of those and just start to feel that rocking motion as your pelvis tilts from one way to the other way. Good. And I'd like you to feel some deep core activation in your deepest set of core muscles as you do this gentle rocking. All right, so now we're going to start to put a little bit more weight into our feet. And as we rock, we're going to peel our hips away from the ground and lift them up toward the ceiling until we arrive in this gentle ski slope position from our knees to our shoulders. Allow the hands to rest. Make sure that the chin and the chest have some space between them and continue to breathe, pushing firmly down through your feet into the ground. And then slowly start to curl down from one vertebra all the way until your tailbone touches the floor. Your sacrum lands. Good. Let's try that again. Breathe in to prepare. As you exhale, press the back into the mat. Start to push through the feet. Inhale as you lift yourself up. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Nice. And this time, if you like, maybe you swing the hips from side to side as you slowly release the spine in this kind of rocking rotation back down until the sacrum lands. We'll do that one more time. Breath in to prepare. Exhale, press the lower back down. Start to push yourself up. Inhaling as you lift. Lovely. Stay here for another couple of breaths, feeling all of the back chain of muscles activating, and then start to sway your hips from side to side until you bring yourself flat to lie down. Great. Okay, so now we're going to take our hands behind our head. We're going to try to lengthen our spine, so walk the shoulder blades back a little bit, interlace the fingers, and hold the nape of your head so that it's fully supported. Take a breath in, and as you squash that tomato, try to round yourself towards bringing your head off the floor. Inhale, relax. As you exhale, making a shh sound. Now notice where your eyes are instinctively going. Shh. We want them to look down toward the pubic bone. And keep the elbows so they're in your peripheral vision. So they're just kind of there. They're not coming too close. So you're not using your arms to help you. You're isolating your core muscles. Shh. Try to keep that space between your chin and your chest, like a little apple is there. Shh. Let's do one more. Shh. Good. Okay. So that's the beginning of our core work. Now I want you to lift one foot off the floor, and we're going to start to do some circles. So have your hands on your pelvic bones again. Imagine you have a tray of drinks on here and you don't want to spill them. So start to move your leg around in little circles without moving your pelvic bones. Now, I encourage you to try closing your eyes and you will feel more what's happening. If you want to progress the exercise, you can use a straight leg to do this exercise. As soon as you feel your hips start to sway, make your circles smaller. Okay. Really focus all your attention on feeling how the head of this big bone, your femur, is moving, gliding around. Let's go the other way, inside this big ball and socket joint that is your hip. Good. So many people think their hips are where our fingers are, but that's your pelvis. Your hip is actually where your leg connects to your body. And anyone who's had a hip operation knows that pretty well. Okay, good. So that leg is starting to get heavy. As soon as you want to rest, please rest. We'll just do one more rotation. And then we're going to hug that knee into our chest, give it a little squeeze, and release. Let's take the other leg up. Connect again to your pelvic bones, to that stillness, and then start to slowly move. And again, I immediately close my eyes because it really helps me to focus more on that stillness. So just see how it is for you. Straight leg or bent leg. And again, we're not looking for huge circles here. We're looking for mobility, mobilizing, so that this bone can slide around and move very freely in this joint. Turn the other direction if you haven't already, and really feel that your fingers are staying connected to your pelvic bones so you can maintain that stability. Last time. Well done. Good. Hug that knee into the chest. Give it a squeeze. Nice. And release. Okay, we're going to roll onto our tummy now. And we're going to do a couple of exercises for the back. So just make a pillow with your forearms for your head to rest on, and let your feet go as wide as the mat, front of the feet pushing down firmly into the ground. Just take a moment to feel how it is to be in this position. Feel the connection of your body to the ground, your ribs, your hips, your knees and feet. And start to notice your breath. And maybe even the beating of your heart. Okay, we're going to take our arms out nice and wide into like goalposts or cactus position, and we're going to bring our forehead to the floor. As you breathe in, press firmly into your arms and feel your upper body arc away from the ground. And as you exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, start to lift. And exhale, slowly lower. Moving with your breath. Okay, we're going to add on the legs now. So as you lift up, bring one foot towards your back and release. And as you lift up, bring the other foot in towards you. Inhaling and exhaling. And if that doesn't feel good, don't bring the foot so close or just stay with the upper body movement. Working to bring more strength to the muscles in our back. Let's just do one more. So now we're going to add on a twist. So as you come up, I want you to put your right elbow comes off the floor and you look back at that right foot, and then you come back down, and then you lift your left elbow, look up at your left foot and twist and look back. So all you're doing is lifting one elbow and gazing behind you. Good. And see what you can see. Nice. And depending on how your neck feels, this might be easy or not. Good. Okay, so just take a moment to rest. Shake your hips out a little bit. Bend both of your knees and just let your legs sway from side to side, and that will release any tension that we might have created in your lower back. And then let the legs rest. Bring your hands under your shoulders, roll your shoulders back, tuck your toes into the mat, and start to push yourself back up and come into a child's pose. You can extend your arms or let your elbows rest and let the head come down toward the floor and the hips toward the heels. And just feel the stretch in your back after all of those extension exercises we just did. So we're going to come up onto our hands, and we're going to do a little series of flowing movements from push-up to child's pose. So the first level might be a little bend like this, and then back into a child's pose. So just gently bending as far, little mini push-ups. And just do as much as feels okay for you. Try to keep the shoulders back, away from the ears as you do that. And just move at a pace that feels comfortable for you. Again, rest whenever you need to. You could take the push-ups into a slightly progressed position of lowering the body a little further toward the ground. Just see how it feels. It's just for you to decide. And we'll just do two more. Just keeping this nice steady flow as we move forward and back. Okay, good. So just taking a rest, taking your wrists behind you to let them just rotate for a moment and relax. And then bring your hands onto the floor, tuck your toes underneath, and we're going to bring ourselves slowly up to stand. Take a breath in to prepare, and then exhale, start to slowly ride up. Good. Okay, so coming into a few more balance exercises now. So I'd like you to put all of the weight into one foot and just lift the other foot off the floor. Now, let your eyes focus on something first, because when we focus our eyes, the mind becomes more still and balance is easier. We're going to hold it here for about 10 seconds, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to close your eyes for 10 seconds and just see what happens, okay? It is going to be more challenging. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the eyes if you wish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So shake the legs out a bit. Let's do the other side. Press down through the foot. Lift that foot off the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close your eyes if you wish. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So you may not have seen me do a little dance there to hold myself up. Okay, so we're going to progress this exercise now. So putting the weight back into the foot, having this leg here, we're going to start to do some little knee bends. So little bounces like this. Good. So just see how that feels to bend your knees. If it doesn't feel good, just stay balancing with one leg. Again, always have a chair to help you should you feel unsteady. Good. And now if you wish, you can close your eyes and try and do the same thing. Again, have that chair there just in case. The worst thing that can happen is your lifted foot lands on the floor and you start again. And you end up looking like you're doing a little dance. Okay, good. Shake out your feet and ankles. Let's try the other side. More weight on that foot. Lift the other one and start to do your little bounces. 10, 9, 8. And then for the last 5, if you want to close your eyes. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay! And release. Okay, excellent. So now we're going to do something called the Romberg test. And how this works is you stand with one foot behind and one foot in front. You can have your arms out to the side or you can cross your arms and see which foot you've chosen to put behind. I've got my left foot behind. And then you're going to stand and see how long you can stay like this. So we're going to do about 10 seconds with our eyes open, and then I'll invite you to close your eyes if you wish to try. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close the eyes if you wish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So you might have felt like you were really shaky on your feet. That's perfectly normal. These muscles are not used to working without the eyes guiding them. And so they had to work a little harder to be able to figure it out, to sense the ground. Try with the other foot now behind and the other one in front. So the heel of your front foot is touching the toes of your back foot. Change the cross of your arms to the way that feels kind of strange if you were doing that before. Focus your eyes on a point in front of you for the first 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Invite you to close your eyes now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release. Good. So just see how that was for you. The more you practice this test, the longer you'll be able to hold it, and that will really help to improve your balance, your proprioception with your eyes closed, and to help you to avoid falls, which is the key thing of this particular lobe that we're working on. So now we're going to try a moving Romberg movement. So we're going to start at the back. We're going to take our hands and cross them, put one foot in front of the other. Try to gaze forward and not to look at the ground, and try to walk from the heel to the front of the foot, really placing the foot down and letting the heel touch the toes each time until you feel the change in the fabric beneath your feet, sensing the end of the mat, and then try walking backwards. Good. Moving slowly, feeling each step as you go. Perfect. All right, so now the opportunity is to close your eyes and try it again. If you don't want to do that, just do it with your eyes open and see how you go. One more time. Good. It is actually more difficult to go forward than it is to go backwards. I think it's the same in life, right? Easier to stay where we are than challenge ourselves to move forward and do new things. But that's not you guys, because you're here doing this class with me, so you really want to improve and do better. Whoa, see how I went off to the side there? So that is all the movement we're going to do on the mat. So now we're going to do a couple of exercises for the face to wake up this. So I want you first to try massaging your masseter muscle. This is, if you go open your mouth up and down, you'll feel this muscle. And I have some TMJ, I'm a bit tight in here, so this always hurts a little bit, but it's good to release it. Good. Okay, so that's releasing our jaw a little bit. And then I'd like you to puff your cheeks out and let the air move around. We have so many nerve endings in the face. Good. And now we're going to take the tongue and we're going to rub it around the mouth. This is stretching your cheeks. The tongue is very sensitive, as we all know. Good. And now we're just going to move the jaw from side to side. I have a little crack when I do that. Okay, and the final exercise today is figuring out the difference between left and right, another thing that the parietal lobe is in charge of. So bring your palms together, scoop them under and bring them up like this. And then I want you to try and wave with your right index finger. Okay, so it's the opposite of what you think because you crossed your hands. See if you can move your left ring finger. I have trouble isolating it. The other one wants to move as well. Okay, let's see if you can move your left thumb. And then try moving your right baby finger. Takes a while sometimes for the message to get from the brain to the finger because you're confused because they're crossed. So I hope you enjoyed the class today, everybody. Please give me your feedback on how it was, and I look forward to seeing you in our next Neuropilates class. Thank you.